Blessed day, soul family. Welcome back to the series. It's Resolution Thursday. Happy to be here. Conflict resolution, mediation, dispute resolution systems. Remember, coming out of 2025, my goal into 2026 was to expand on the concepts of mental health, unity consciousness, and resolution systems. Since moving off of the mountain, my partner and I have been studying mediation, nonviolent communication, mindfulness, and continuing our Tai Chi practices and meditation practices that we learned on the mountain. Why? Because we have to come to the realization that conflict is inevitable. Conflict happens. Why does conflict happen? Well, we can talk more about that, but it just happens. And the question is what do we do when we encounter it? So that's what Resolution Thursday is about. And today I'm going to do a little bit something different. We're going to look at some videos. We're going to look at some news stories. And I want to introduce my Citizens Creed, and we'll look at the Tai Chi calendar, and let's get right into it. So, World Tai Chi Day is coming up. We just uh, we just filmed our radio show here in Southern Humboldt County, Northern California, at Redwood Community Radio. Myself, my friend Tony, and some of you may know and remember Florina Nigley, who also trained with Dr. Young and studied with us on the mountain. And we do this talk. I'm actually in the other room, but we do Chi Talks every Thursday, which you can actually find on our YouTube channel. So here's our calendar series that we're going to go into. But we also have our Chi Talks, which is a podcast on YouTube. I also have a podcast on other platforms as well. But we also have this video podcast that I've been working on. We've been doing Chi Talks for probably the past 6 years. So here are our Chi Talks video interviews that you can find at um, Tai Chi and Qigong with Javi and Nona. So all sorts of good, interesting topics there along the lines of health, healing, wellness, self-exploration, meditation, Kung Fu, and Qigong. But we're promoting our World Tai Chi Qigong Day event.
Just we started to talk about the beginning of the show that we have this really cool yearly event coming up, right? The Tai Chi Qigong World Day, and just to remind you again, this will be on the 25th, right, of April, Saturday. That's in 10 days or something like that, and it's going to be on the town square here in Garberville. If it's raining, it will be at the Dharma Center. And the cool thing is, this is a completely free event. This is like, if you're curious about any of these practices and listening in right now, thinking, what the heck are they talking about? Join us and just check it out, because we will offer like four different little mini workshops and a presentation, and you can just watch, you can join us, you can ask questions, you can meet us for teachers. It's really kind of, that's the idea of this whole event, and it's really such a pleasure to have, the three of you, right, as the four of us, like collaborating like this, and putting something. We're a band. That's right. We're making music.
So if you haven't seen, Tony is a continuing host on the show Chi Talks. Thank God he was able to step in and take Nona's place as she became a kindergarten teacher. But he's a world-class musician, and he also is from Lebanon and grew up as child soldier and healed himself, mind, body, spirit, through music and through Bagua. So he joins us with Bagua, Nona with animal spirits, Qigong, Four Seasons Qigong with Florina, and Yang Tai Chi with myself in the Garberville Town Square, April 25th, 10 to 12. Um, yeah, I hope you have something locally that you're attending to. Um, so now I want to go to this little bit with Sadhguru that I just stumbled upon today. And I've been following his work for a while. He's been on a few high profile podcasts. This is the PBD podcast. And he brings something up about conflict because it's on our minds and it's in the field and it's manifesting and it has perpetuated. And we all want to know, we all uh, desire to find how we will facilitate and propagate peace in our world. So let's see what he has to say.
You and me will naturally become conflict if you try to do it physically. Physically, if you try to become boundless, is there a conflict or not right now? If you try to occupy this whole room, is there a conflict between the other people who are here in this room or not? Immediately
If you're if you're a physical person and you try to impose yourself physically upon others or within a space, what does that do to the space and what does that communicate to others in the room? That's kind of like what he's saying. He's proposing that why is human so motivated to expand and produce and to be productive and to grow and to collect, which ultimately leads to the extraction and the taking of the planet and resources.
there is.
Not right now. I mean,
No,
maybe not for me, but
no. You want to expand physically,
sure,
so you want to occupy all the space.
right.
Naturally, there's conflict with somebody else
Yeah,
because I
for
also
sure.
want to expand.
Yes, competition.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm saying once you realize your fundamental goal is to expand limitlessly,
Wow.
you must understand it cannot be done physically. The moment you realize that, that is when you turn spiritual.
Cannot be done physically, cannot be done physically because you're limited.
No. Physical is a defined boundary.
Right.
You call something physical only because it has a defined boundary. If I take away all the boundaries of your body, you don't have physicality left, isn't it? So, but the longing to expand is limitless. So obviously it cannot be done physically.
Is that a bad thing to be that ambitious? Is there
No,
is there a time where
no, you're not getting me. This is not about ambition. This is the fundamental nature.
So PBD is a businessman and he operates this podcast and a number of businesses. If you've listened to his material, he's aggressively hiring, he's pursuing. So what he hears Sadhguru saying is, well, yeah, I want to expand. Is that what's so wrong about that? Sadhguru is saying that the spirit has a desire to expand beyond the limits and the boundaries of the body to what it knows that true reality is in the other realm, boundless and limitless, because the spirit is boundless and limitless. It's just contained in this vessel in this temporary moment in time. That's what I hear Sadhguru saying. So I connect with what he's saying. Unfortunately, he's not PBD is slowly coming to the idea of what Sadhguru is saying.
Nature of our consciousness, it wants to expand limitlessly. What you call as ambition is a constipated condition of your consciousness.
constipated ambition of your consciousness?
Your ambition is a constipated expression of your consciousness. Your consciousness wants to expand limitlessly. Your ambition wants to do it little by little
Got it.
because it understands life only physically.
It only understands life.
See, everything that's physical about you, where did you get this from?
Everything that's physical about me, where did I get it from? Where did I get it from?
The Turkish guy today,
Right. That's right.
He said the Turkish guy today is everything that you is the origin of everything that is you physically today because earlier in the podcast, PBD says that his Turkish chef made him a meal. So he's talking about the food that he has eaten makes him who he is
Food
today.
that you've
Yes.
eaten, right?
Yes.
The food that you've eaten.
Uh-huh.
So from this being this big baby, you became like this, just the food that you've eaten. Where did that come from? From the soil that you walk
Sure.
upon. So what you call as myself physically is just a piece of this planet. You picked it up. But suddenly you're thinking, this is me. It's like this. There is water in this glass. This is not me right now. If I drink it, does it become me or not?
I don't know if it becomes you.
You 72% of your body is water.
I know, but I
Where
don't.
did it come? You picked it up from Mars, is it?
You drink it.
Of course.
Sure.
So that's how this will become me if I drink it.
It'll become you temporarily until you go to the bathroom.
Not everything will go to the
Not
bathroom.
all of it, yeah.
Yes. Some of it will become me or no.
Sure, absolutely.
What we drank yesterday, 10 years ago, has become us or no?
Sure.
There's blood in your body, I think so. What do you think?
Sure.
It's so, I'm saying what you eat and drink all came from the planet.
Yeah.
You borrow something, you eat and make it a part of yourself.
Well, let me ask you this. You said something about boundaries, competition, physical, all of that.
Constipation, I said.
Right. So on the physical side, there's a lot of wars going on right now. There's a lot of
Don't go there, we'll come there. First, let's address the human problem. Because if you don't understand the human problem, you think war is political. No, it's human.
Oh, I know that, and I think the part I'm trying to qualify with you is there a, you know how they say, let's do a peace deal, Sadhguru, let's do a peace deal, let's do a peace deal. Is there such a thing as peace in a world when everybody has different beliefs and different ideologies and different religions?
They're saying, let's enjoy this weekend.
So this is a interesting podcast. I recommend that you watch the whole thing because it's just interesting to see two different people talk about relevant topics, and everybody has this pursuit towards peace. Unfortunately, why do human beings continue to perpetuate war? And so that is the study also of Qigong, martial arts. My teacher, Dr. Yang, if you look at his yellow book, Qigong meditation, embryonic breathing, and you turn to the first page, he talks about how ancient China went through many millennia and dynasties of war and peace. So, how can we learn from this? How can we evolve? And how can we grow and contribute to peace on the planet? When we study Marshall Rosenberg's work, how do you know when you're contributing to the peace or to the violence on the planet? So that's a question that we each have to ask ourselves in every moment. Am I contributing to the peace or am I contributing to the war that's on the planet? And that's a big part of why I do this Resolution Thursday series, so we can look at the nature of reality, because there is predation in the world. There is predation in the world. Life feeds on life. Predator takes prey. And yet, in the human species, we have an animal instinct. We have an animal instinct and drive and pursuit, base level needs to feed ourselves, to clothe ourselves, to reproduce and procreate. In that podcast, they also talk about sexual urge for men, how to tame that fire. So they also talk about that. So these are real issues that humans, as long as humans will continue to be humans and not robots, they will continue to have to face. And if you go back to one of my previous episodes, I talk about the five structures that hold up society and consequently the five collapsing pillars of society, uh, politics, religion, sexuality, and politics, religion, sexuality, money, and I think power. So they're mostly taboo topics, topics that you don't want to bring up uh, in a chit chat or in small conversation, but rather how and when do we talk about these things that are controversial, that stir up emotion, and that essentially lead to violence and war on the planet. As you see podcasts growing more and more, we can theorize that we are turning into a conversation culture, or we desire to have conversation over conflict. I think that's a great thing. But let's turn now to the news, and let's turn now to the perpetual cycle of news and the things that we are subjected to. And this is something that is deeply disturbing for me to see. I don't know if you've heard of the term, what's it called? Executive protection. Executive protection. So threats against senior corporate leaders escalated sharply during the past year, with incident levels reaching their highest point on record in 2025, according to new research from Security Executive Council (SEC). Study documents 424 open source reported incidences worldwide. By the end of October 2025, incident volume had doubled from 2024. The database behind the report is part of a multi-year collaboration between SEC and Mercyhurst University's Business Intelligence and Innovation Lab, with analytic support from the Center for Intelligence Research. Analyst training. CEOs remain the primary targets, but attacks on other senior executives are rising, particularly in the technology and financial sectors. Why are CEOs being attacked? Physical activity accounted for 85% of documented incidents, including assaults, protest-related actions. Physical attacks or violent incidents accounted for 34% of physical incidents. Among these, 75% were carried out through ambush or walk-up tactics, while 8% involved drive-by shootings, or the report said. So the remember about the CEO who was gunned down, I believe in New York, Luigi Mangione, I think is how to say the guy's name, who is, I think, still on trial for gunning down a CEO in the streets. How do we know what is right or wrong? How do we fight for our survival? How do we fight for our sovereignty? How do we pursue mutual coexistence in the world and claim justice, fight for justice, and mitigate injustice in the world? We're trying to figure those things out. Look at this story of this young kid, 20 years old, trying to attack the home of Sam Altman.
Suspect Daniel Moreno Gama later struck at the glass doors of OpenAI's San Francisco headquarters with a chair. He was arrested at the scene and no one was injured. Moreno Gama, a 20-year-old from Texas, is alleged to have authored documents opposing AI and advocating for the killing of CEOs and investors of AI companies. He now faces attempted murder and attempted arson charges. CNN is working to determine his legal representation.
A 20-year-old from Texas who attacked Sam Altman's, I guess, home here, and now is going to be charged for attempted murder. Let's look at now this other story that was kind of heartbreaking to see.
Don't touch me. The father then comes and shoves me violently to the ground. Walking away, I'm saying, don't touch me. The father then comes and shoves me violently.
how
As I'm
ho
walking away, I'm saying, "Don't touch me." The
horrific,
father then comes and shoves me.
how horrific is it to see this
As I'm
in
walking away,
in the world, right?
I'm saying, "Don't touch me." The father.
While technology is connecting us, we can also see the brutal reality of the world more easily and on a more consistent basis. And we have to understand, especially as common citizens, that violence does happen, abuse does happen, and we just want to reduce suffering and reduce violence. That's why martial arts is a great study, a great tool in the tool bag, because you have to contend with violence in the world, and you have to also contend with your own upwellings of ill will. And then how do you manage ill will in your thoughtscape, speechscape, and also action? That is the nature of the martial mystic and moving forward in study and in practice in everyday life. We're gonna we're gonna talk about the Citizen Creed because I wrote up myself a Citizen Creed, kind of like an agreement to how to how I want to show up in the world and how I want energy reciprocated, and and then how I choose to see the humanity in everyone. But first, we're going to look at the Tai Chi calendar movement. What I want to share is the opening and closing of the chest. Now, in Tai Chi, what are we doing? And how does it how is it helpful for the world and pursuing peace and balance in the world? Tai Chi, like a lot of the spiritual practices and ancient technologies, Tai Chi gives us the opportunity to balance our mind, body, and spirit. And something that Sadhguru says, because they started talking about peace, is you want to have peace in the world, which requires billions of people to have peace in their minds. Instead of pursuing peace in the world, wouldn't you want to pursue the peace of the billions of people's minds in the world? Because if the billions of people in the world have a peaceful mind, then you have no morality to worry about. You have no breakdown of civility to worry about. You don't have war to worry about, or disagreement or strife. So what he's talking about and what he's pointing to is the conditions by which peace is carried out in the world, individually by the empowerment of the citizens of the world. Tai Chi Chuan is a daily practice that gives you the tools to cultivate connection, communication, and the pursuit towards harmony. How? Well, you're trying to balance two legs in one time. You're trying to balance two arms in one time and in one moment and in one space. You're trying to balance four limbs in one movement and in one space. And then those are the four bows. Then we have the spine and the chest bow that are two more bows. So what we call that is body regulation. Body regulation points to nervous system regulation, breath regulation, mental focus, attention regulation, and consequently, all of those things bring together on a daily disciplined regiment now the unfolding of a spiritual exercise and practice. Nothing dogmatic, nothing dogmatic, but um, a self realized agent in a human body as a infinite spirit of the universe in this moment in time, trying to share space with all the other beings in the world, because that's essentially what PBD was asking Sadhguru. Okay, well, you have all these. Um, this is the drill today. You have all these beings in the world. How are we bringing about peace in the world? So how do we mitigate the clashing of human beings, the clashing of societies or cultures or sects um, or groups, right? And that's what Sadhguru is saying. If you want to see peace in the world, each person has to have a level of balance that they achieve because each of them brings that balance and harmony into the world. So, with that, I want to share with you my Citizen's Creed. And it's a work in progress, and you can tell me what you think about it. So, it begins like this: I see you, I acknowledge you, I appreciate you. There is power in presence, and just in being here together gives us this moment and gives this moment meaning. And we are validated. I value life and love and live to love by protecting life, not by taking life, but through pursuing harmony. I also value learning, and I will admit to not knowing many things. If you can give me grace, I agree to reciprocate so that we may learn from one another. And lastly, because I value love, I want to give and receive love in a way that sees us in our best and in our full light. If we see each other in our best selves and in our best light, and we do this personal meditation of one another, even our neighbors, our enemies, our family, our brothers, our sisters, the president, dictators, if we can see them in their best lights and give them the grace and use that as a practice also with ourselves and give ourselves the grace when we've come up short on how we desire to be and show up in the world, because it happens, we can learn and we can learn to learn with one another. So that's the Citizens Creed that I'm presenting to you here in Resolution Thursday, first and foremost. So I want to know what you think and how you would structure or how you would edit that, because that's just something that has just come to mind and arose through my meditation and seeing the things in the world and communicating how I want to be in a world, because I don't want to see stories, like this, or see things like this perpetuated out
Sarah, this is just
in the world. That is just another man to a woman doing that. And what we also need to look at is the mental health of these situations, the mental health and the dysregulation. What we're seeing here is dysregulation, right? And what I'm trying to do is, because what we want to do is observe without judgment, right? The highest form of intelligence is to observe without judgment. So the practice here when we see things like this is to observe without judgment, and then we look at how we want to show up in the world, how we want to construct our thoughtscape, our mindscape, our action, and how we see and want to see each other in the world. And that's why I wrote up the Citizens Creed. That's why in 2025, I realized unity consciousness was something that I wanted to talk about more. Um, Mental health was key, and regulation and dysregulation was key. And conflict resolution is key because we're not taught conflict resolution in school. And as a result, I don't think that it's easy for us to improve emotionally and literacy wise past high school. And so what we see is older high school people perpetuating high school in the world. And it takes the agency and the pursuit and the practice and the discipline to learn emotional intelligence, self regulation, restraint, and a literacy of feelings and needs to pursue harmony and see, give grace and empathy towards yourself and others. That's the place I think that we're growing into here on the planet as we are bombarded with a lot of these images that are just really undesirable and makes us sad and brings us down. We have to find the ways to lift ourselves up, to lift our spirits up internally, find our mind, body, spirit harmony and balance, and then show up to our local communities and to the rest of the world with that grace, empathy, and love that we have given and shown to ourselves. And and it's challenging. It's not easy. It's difficult. Grab yourself a partner, a life partner, and embark on a practice with them. That's what I've done with my partner, Nona, and that's why we've built our Tai Chi for Couples program, which you can find on yinyangtaichi.org. And we've recently started to pursue and publish more along the lines of Tai Chi for couples. So find yourself a partner and then get yourselves the practices and the tools so that you can continue to learn. You have a partner that you can be vulnerable with, that you can make mistakes with, and that you can also support and learn and grow old with. On Monday, Mental Health Monday, we talked about an activity that you can grow old with. And on Resolution Thursday today, one of the things I want to propose is have a partner that you can also grow old with as well, because we need these feedback loops and feedback mechanisms because we're in an environment where we're learning and we need to continue to learn and stay in the space of learning, invoking curiosity, mitigating judgment despite what we see in the news and continuing to be perpetuated. So, let me know what you think and let me know what your thoughts are. And remember to embrace the woo. And until next time, may your chi flow smoothly.